Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Tom from UDS with another edition of UDS Interviews, our series where we chat to interesting people from around the world. And my guest this week can only be described as a pop-punk powerhouse. And with their debut album in the works, they are destined to take over the scene. And they're here today to talk about this and more. It is my pleasure to introduce the most delicious exports from Newcastle since the Saveloy Dip, Gilly and Luke from Hometruths.
And I know that it's not for the taking. It's your heart and I'm not gonna break it. It's so sad that you're lost in your vacant. It's your heart and I'm not gonna break it.
Oh, how's it going?
Pretty good. I'm trusting the Saveloy Dip is. Are you a fan of the Saveloy Dip?
I am. I don't think Luke is. He's a vegetarian.
Is there a vegetarian alternative, version of the Saveloy Dip?
Probably. I've just never looked for it. That's going to be nice. After this, I'm going to Google if there is, and I'm going to go get it.
Good plan. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your Thursday evening to chat to me. How are you guys doing this evening?
Not too bad. I've just had work today, so I'm tired from that, but apart from that.
Me too.
Just normal Thursday.
Day jobs get in the way of all this fun stuff, doesn't it? But we're here now. And for the unfortunate few that may not have checked out you guys in the band yet, could you just give us a brief introduction about Hometruths?
We're a pop punk band from the northeast, just based in Newcastle. If you like your old school pop punk, your Newfound Glory, Blink-182, it's happy sounding songs with sad lyrics.
That's what you want. And we will talk about music in a bit more detail in just a sec. But before we get to that point, I have to ask the real questions, the real hard-hitting questions, because I want to get to know you guys personally. And so I have to ask, if each of you individually was a sandwich, a type of sandwich, what kind of sandwich would you say best defines you as a person?
Ooh. Oh, this is a hard question.
I think for me, you hit the nail on the head with the Saveloy Dip.
The Saveloy Dip sandwich.
Is that just because you enjoy them, or do you think the components of the Saveloy Dip define you as a person?
It's all the components that are in it. It's just a bit of everything, really. So,
sure does, and it all comes together to make something wonderful. So.
Yeah, I just don't know how they've not broke out of the northeast.
I know. I tell you what, until I made a trip up to your guys' way, I'd never even heard of it, and now literally I make it on the reg because it's just the best. It's just the best. What about you, Luke? What sandwich would you be?
Oh, I don't know. I'm struggling now because I just like sandwiches in general. So
Sandwich, I'm in love with you. You've got legs.
No idea. I don't want to go bowling, but
I love how serious people take this. I love it. It's literally when they go into psychiatrist's office and they have the ink blot test and you're like, what does this see to you? This is the culinary equivalent.
Yeah. Oh God, I don't know. I think that's the hardest question I've ever been asked, to be fair.
I told you it was hard hitting.
You've forgotten what all sandwiches are.
We can be quite liberal with the definition of a sandwich. If you prefer a wrap.
Yeah, I'm just trying to sound meatball marinara from Subway. That sandwich, just you got your meatballs, your tomato sauce with the meatballs, and then ketchup on top. My internet's not the best at the moment. I'm going off my phone, do I hope that's on. Yeah, I am. My data is also not good. So
that's absolutely,
I might be here. I might not be.
That's absolutely fine. I heard Subway meatball marinara with ketchup, which I don't know how I feel about that.
That's controversial.
Yeah.
It's because I first found it when I was younger because my mate was like, "Oh, try it with ketchup," and I tried. It's so good. It's so good.
I won't knock it until I try it. Next time I order a Subbers, that's what I'm going to go for. Just give it a go. But as much as I feel like you like me could talk about sandwiches all evening. We should probably talk about music because, of course, that is the reason you're here. And from what I understand, you guys have been recording your debut album as we speak. So first of all, how is that going?
Pretty good so far. James has been doing a lot of the work up to now, doing all the guitars, bass, vocals, just because he's the one that writes the most, like all the music really.
And
he's been
the one that's most flexible with his job.
Yeah, because we haven't done drums yet. We're doing that in just under 2 weeks. So I'm just sat here perfecting all the songs, ready to go and just to smash them out as quickly as possible. But it's going well so far. Just after drums, we've just got a few more vocals to do, and then just like going over the song, see if there's any like little bits we can add, like piano, like any little things to like spice it up a bit.
Flair.
Yeah,
very nice.
so far
nice.
Going really well.
Good
James
to
is
hear.
tired though, so he's having a rest from recording it all.
Yeah, I can imagine it's a lot of management to get that all done. But obviously, as I say, this is your first album that you guys are working on, but you have been a band for a number of years now. So are the tracks that are going to feature on this album, are they all sort of brand new to you, or you guys, or are they been tracks that you've kind of been like working with and sort of, jamming out over the years?
There's like 2 or 3 on the album, which we've played live a couple of times, and that we've had sort of in the back line for a while, but the majority of it's all like brand new stuff.
Exciting. So is there a few tracks that you're real excited to take on the road then?
Oh,
yeah, definitely. There's a few that I was like non-stop listening to, even when I'm not trying to learn them. Just like driving along the car, like, put that one on.
That's a good sign. That's a good
Very
sign.
excited.
Awesome. And I've got to ask, even if you can't say it right now, is there any news on, a potential date of release, or when we might be able to find out more, if you're going to sprinkle any singles in the lead up? What can you give away?
I think we're hoping for first single back end of the year, hopefully, if not early 2023, and then hopefully album aiming for like an Easter release.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to it. But more in sort of more recent news. You recently played Rise Fest in your hometown, and so firstly I wanted to ask, how was that? Because I wasn't lucky enough to be there, but all the videos and pics I saw, it looked amazing.
Unreal. Like it was great. Like the whole thing. Like Rise putting it on was like they've just done amazingly. But like we were 4th on the small stage, and I was expecting like I think two bands in. It was like the room was pretty much like completely full. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah, it was really well organized. From the very start, it was packed. Which is what like it was saying. It was a big worry that it was just going to sort of slowly trickle in through the day.
Well, that's
right from the get-go. It was packed. It was amazing.
Well, I think, again, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys will know better than me, but there does seem to be, like there's a big movement in the Northeast for, creative people beyond just music. And I think there's a real passion for it in that part of the country at the moment. So do you see it as sort of, becoming this hub of not just sort of pop punk and rock and metal and everything, but just like a place where if you want to do something cool and creative, the Newcastle is one of the best places to do it?
Yeah, definitely. The alternative scene's, been quick, growing over the last few years. For years, it was just sort of indie bands that came from Newcastle. There's always been a big metal scene, but there's a lot more pop punk and like hardcore and emo stuff coming through. And again, with creative stuff, obviously we've got things like Cultaholic, which has a huge following. That's based up here.
I'm not going to lie, that's how I first heard about you guys, was through Jack and Cultaholic. So
yeah, well, I used to live with Jack and Pachiti and Sam.
Small world. It's a small world. Yeah. Just listen to, him shout you guys out. I was just like, oh, well, I know he likes his pop punk and everything. I'll check you guys out. And I've been like spinning your stuff ever since. So, yeah, it's crazy how like these things happen. And it's definitely, it seems to be the place to be if you're in, wanting to do anything creative, whether it be YouTube or music. But the one thing that I have to ask as a Southern Softie is, when are you guys next going to be down our neck of the woods? Have you got any plans to play around London way or anyway, south of the border, as it were?
Definitely London. Like, we love playing London. Every time we've played there, it's always just been a great turnout, regardless of who's on. Whereabouts is it that you're based?
So I am literally, you could not get any more southeast. I'm down near Dover, so right in the arse end of Kent. So
right. Well, we played Southampton last year, and that was one of my favourite gigs of the tour.
Where did you play in Southampton?
It was a venue called The Hobbit.
I know The Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings pub. They do the shots based on like the Fellowship and everything. Yeah,
it was the first night of tour, and I thought it was a good idea to drink as many of the shots and cocktails that they had to offer.
Amazing. Did they still have the big statue of Aragorn in there?
I don't know. I didn't see that.
It's been a long time. It's probably about 5 years since I went there.
As when we went, they were saying like they had issues because obviously since it's all based around Lord of the Rings, I think I don't know exactly what happened, but that kind of had to change it a little bit be.
I remember them saying they had some sort of legal issues.
Peter Jackson came and busted the doors down. You ain't doing this, mate. I tell you what, you did well though, because there is a place in Southampton called the Jester. I think it's like sort of some cheap club, but they do a drink there called a Jesticle, which is basically all the drip trays. They just empty them out and just pour it into a pint glass for £1.
Oh no, that's awful.
I've not been brave enough to try it, and I probably don't regret that decision. It sounds grim.
I'm going to be adding that to my notes for next time.
Well, if you wanted to get fucked quick, there you go. But anyway, as I mentioned, we've talked about creative stuff beyond music already. But here at UDS, we do talk about the breadth of pop culture. We talk about movies, video games, music, anything that we find interesting. We tend to have a chat about it. So with that in mind, if you could have a Hometruths track featured in anything, nothing's off the table, video game, movie, anything at all, what would be your dream thing to feature one of your tracks?
Ooh, definitely a game for me. Definitely a game.
I was going to say, all I can think of, Luke, is what was that Disney skateboarding game that you used to love?
Oh, one second.
Everyone says Tony Hawk, but this feels way more specific.
Oh, it was like, I remember it was like on PlayStation 1 or 2. It was this like Disney skateboarding, but like the soundtrack was so good. It had like Alistair. Who else was on it? But I remember I had like a playlist when we were on tour, and I was playing the song, and Luke was like, "This was on this Disney game that I used to play. I love it."
Amazing. I'm surprised that a Disney game went as hard as that.
Disney Extreme Skateboarding.
I'm looking this up right now.
Yeah, that's the one. Don't know if you can see very well.
Oh, yeah, I'm just looking it up now. Oh, mate, I think I remember that cover. I'm just looking up the soundtrack now. Someone's put the playlist on Spotify.
Yeah, I remember I found that, and that was all I was listening to for like a few weeks because I forgot about it.
Real Big Fish, Smash Mouth, Simple Plan, Basement Jacks. Oh my god.
So incredible. If they do a remake of that, hopefully they'll hit us up.
100%. That would be amazing. My life would be complete at that point.
That could be, one of the best answers we've had to that question ever. Disney Extreme Skateboarding Adventure. What more could you want? What more could you want? Well, aside from obviously featuring in this game, there's not there's not long left of 2022. So what does the rest of this year and 2023 have in store for you guys?
Well, band-wise, it's just the album for the rest of the year. And then 2023 is probably just trying to book gigs, like see if we can get more tours, like obviously promoting the album as much as we can. Because obviously, start of 2023, we're probably going to start promoting it massively from then, try to get a few singles out, get the album out, and then promote as much as we can. But at the moment, we've got nothing set in stone, just get the album done, go from there, one step at a time.
I think this year, like back end of this year, the only things we've sort of got left to do is I think we've got a video shoot booked in, and just a few little bits like content, just getting like some photo shoots done and try and get some more like tours and interviews and stuff lined up for the album release.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm glad that we could be one of the first and get on the ground floor.
Yeah.
Well, the last question I have to ask you is about as important as the rest of them, so get prepared. And that is, we are UDS, which I don't know if you can see behind my head, but basically stands for Upside Down Shark. And don't ask me why we went with a dumb name like that, but we're in way too deep to change it now. But be that as it may, fellas, what are your favourite sharks? And they could be real, they could be fictional, they could be a shark from a movie or a shark from the ocean, I guess. But what would you say your favourite shark is?
Trying to think of fictional sharks now, if there's any good ones.
I mean, you've got Jaws, you've got Bruce from Finding Nemo, the concept of the Sharknado. You can get as abstract with it as you like.
Oh, definitely Bruce from Finding Nemo. He's definitely the best shark. Top tier shark.
It really is.
For me, growing up, I remember I used to love the TV show Street Sharks, and my favorite was always the hammerhead shark. So,
I mean,
I'll go for the hammerhead.
Very on brand for us, and I can tell you there are no sharks more homoerotic than the street sharks. I envy those six packs. They are units, each and every other one of them.
Their little short shorts and roller skates.
I mean, if that's not peak masculinity, I don't know what is. Did you ever watch the spin-off Extreme Dinosaurs?
No.
It's basically the same thing, except for sharks, they're dinosaurs, and it had one of the best intro musics ever. If you do nothing else after this, Google the intro to Extreme Dinosaurs. It's incredible. Their slogan to when they beat up the baddies was "Let's fossilize them." It's just chef's kiss. But aside from music, sharks, dinosaurs, sandwiches, and more, this has been an absolute pleasure chatting to you guys. Thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you for having us.
All right, thank you for having us.
Working lonely hours when the darkness falls, it devours you whole. You're so broken